Sponsored by Venezuela is wracked with protest and election uncertainty. On Monday, Venezuelans across the country took to the streets to protest a disputed election, clashing with police as uncertainty swirls around the results amid allegations of election fraud. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro claimed victory in the country's presidential elections in the wee hours of Monday, even as the country's opposition claimed that its candidate Edmundo Gonzalez had emerged victorious, asserting that it had results that proved the claim. It is to be noted here that the presidential elections held on Sunday were the most consequential one in years, which has put Venezuela's future on the line. Agonized over the devastating collapse of the country's economy and violent repression under President Maduro's rule, many young opposition supporters said that they would leave the country if authoritarian leader Maduro was re-elected. Meanwhile, the United States has expressed serious concerns that the results announced by the Electoral Authority do not reflect the votes of the people, with the US Secretary of State Antony Blinken asking for a detailed tabulation of votes be published.
I want to speak quickly to the elections that just took place in Venezuela. We applaud the Venezuelan people for their participation in the July 28th presidential election. We commend their courage and commitment to democracy in the face of repression and in the face of adversity. We've seen the announcement just a short while ago by the Venezuelan Electoral Commission. We have serious concerns that the result announced does not reflect the will or the votes of the Venezuelan people. It's critical that every vote be counted fairly and transparently, that election officials immediately share information with the opposition and independent observers without delay, and that the electoral authorities publish the detailed tabulation of votes. The international community is watching this very closely and will respond accordingly.
On the other hand, Argentine President Javier Milei called the official result a fraud, while Costa Rica and Peru rejected it. And Chile said it would not accept any result that was not verifiable. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for complete transparency and for the electoral body to undertake their work independently and without interference to guarantee the free expression. However, Cuba, Honduras and Bolivia cheered Maduro's victory. The chaos over the election results began after the country's electoral authority said that just after midnight on Monday, Maduro had won a third six-year term with 51% of the votes, while adding that the opposition candidate Gonzalez had won only 44% votes. However, the opposition party leader Maria Corina refused the election authority's results, stating that their party's presidential candidate Gonzalez had won 70% of the votes, which can be verified by multiple independent exit polls and quick counts that illustrated his victory. Retaliating to the opposition's response, Machado alleged that the opposition party had copied the 40% of the voting records to claim their victory. On top of that, the election process has been marred with allegations of foul play despite Maduro promising free and fair elections. Nonetheless, his promises did not hold true as opposition figures were arrested. The opposition's key leader was banned from running, media outlets were blocked, and overseas Venezuelans were largely unable to vote. Owing to such democratic malpractices, even though Maduro was formally named the winner by the country's electoral body, the opposition has rejected the results, while the Latin American leaders have refused to recognize his win. Though Maduro's supporters celebrated his win in parts of Caracas, Monday was marked by wider protest by the opposition. In Caracas, hundreds of people marched through the streets waving Venezuelan flags and chanting liberty. Videos from across the country showed crowds banging their pots, a rattling cacophony so loud it could be heard from far away across an entire city.